Reds podcast. Here are your hosts, Ricky Logan and Roger Straz.
Welcome to the Red Hot Reds, a Cincinnati Reds podcast, hosted by myself, Roger Straz, and Reds on SI writer Ricky Logan. We are here covering the Cincinnati Reds in a winning week. Ricky, 3-2 on the week. Can you believe it's not a split because there's been a lot of rain this week in general, raining out not just the Redlegs, but also like a bunch of minor leaguers and stuff like minor league games and whatnot in the affiliates. And we'll get into that on Minor League Mondays. Tune into that for Minor League Mondays. But yeah, with all that rain, how's your week been?
Soaked. No, it's good. We kind of needed it after some dry spell for a while, but it does suck when games get postponed, and this one gets postponed for a while on Sunday, so we won't see the Cardinals for a little bit in Cincinnati. So, I mean, with how we've played against the division lately, it's kind of nice to get that break, but we played them pretty well, and here we are.
For sure. Yeah, it is good to get a little break from the division when we're not doing so hot against it. But we did get a win against the Cardinals in that doubleheader, which, had Chase Petty taxi in for the one start and go back down to Louisville. So that was nice to see. I don't think he got in line for the win because they blew the game and won it in extras. But, obviously we're both Chase Petty fans, and we're going to get into that probably when we talk about the Cardinals series, but it was good to see him up and pitching well again. Yeah, it's been rainy. Yesterday, though, was nice toward the evening. So there was one good day this week that wasn't full of rain or kind of overcast weather. So that's great to at least have one day out of the week. Hopefully we'll have a little bit more sun coming up this coming week. But before we get into all that, I want to shout out our sponsor, FrostBuddy. FrostBuddy.com/RedHotReds, URL down there in the corner, along with the QR code. We have been with them for a while, and we really appreciate their support. We want to shout them out. They've got, I would imagine, some Memorial Day stuff. So, again, happy Memorial Day. It's Memorial Day weekend. We want to also be thankful and grateful for all the soldiers that went to war and unfortunately, passed away while fighting for our freedoms of this country. So happy Memorial Day to you too, Ricky. I forgot to talk about that at the top of the show. But yeah, FrostBuddy definitely has a lot of American products for their tumblers and what have you. And they definitely have, I think, even a Memorial Day sale, I want to say, coming on. So I want to say, Ricky, you're pulling that up right now. So that is our main sponsor here, FrostBuddy.com/RedHotReds. Oh, they got some Coca-Cola, or is that? Yeah, best pop ever. Father's Day coming up. It looks like they have a little a collaboration with Coca-Cola, FrostBuddy, and Father's Day collection. So go check that out. New arrival for FrostBuddy.com. Best pop ever. Diet Coke Daddy. There's and then also, yes, the Major League Baseball insignias. They have also the City Connect 1.0 for your Cincinnati Redlegs. So go check that out. And a number one dad for Cincinnati Reds, it looks like, down there for that last one. So check them out. FrostBuddy.com/RedHotReds. Ricky's got a couple of them, so he can speak on that a little bit more if you like.
Yeah, so I have the Universal Buddy and the Universal Buddy XL. They also have to-go buddies for all your to-go drinks. So if you have like your McDonald's cups, your Starbucks, your Dunkin' drinks, all of those fit. They keep your drinks ice cold or hot. They can keep your coffees hot if you get hot coffee also. And, if you get the Buddy XL or the regular Universal Buddy, you can use those as a tumbler as well. And I use that a lot as a tumbler. You get their 100% leak-proof lid and fill it up with ice, and I got ice water all day long, and it's been great.
Awesome stuff. Yep, check them out. Support them. Supports us. So we really appreciate it. We're also going to get into please like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell for YouTube for us at All Gloves Off as well. Plus a bunch of other shows that we're adding. Cheap Pop Society, Fanboys Unleashed. Also got Football with Cheese. Sirhan, All Eras with Sirhan, is back with us as well, doing the All Gloves Off thing. And then also our Tuesday show, Lights Out podcast with Mike and Cheese. But also, just a little tease, we have a ticket giveaway that we're going to get into at the end of the show. So stay tuned for that. And also stay tuned to all our socials for how to enter and potentially win some Reds tickets. So we will get into that at the end of the show. But yeah, Ricky, let's talk Reds. Let's talk a winning week. May.
Yes.
It took
Has it
until
happened?
it took till Memorial Day weekend to finally get a winning week, even though that obviously this could have been a split potentially or a 4-2 week if we played today, but the weather did not allow for the Redlegs to play their third game against the Cardinals. And like you had mentioned a little bit at the beginning of the show, it probably is maybe for the best that we not play division opponents at the moment, given how we've been playing against in division teams. But yeah, it ended up being a nice start to the week as well. Maybe not the greatest of starts on the Monday game with another blown bullpen loss, but it ended up being 2 wins out of 3 against the Philadelphia Phillies, who were a hot team coming in. They had stormed back from their terrible start in the season to get above 500, and I think they're second in the division behind those Braves that we'll be seeing in a couple days. What were your first, I guess, initial takeaways with the Philadelphia series at the beginning of the week?
Yeah, I mean, we're going to talk about him later, but Chase Burns is the real deal. He's been a stopper for the Reds every time he goes out. If there's a losing streak going on, he's going to put an end to it. 6-1 on the year, just phenomenal. I can't say enough good things about Chase Burns, and I will say it again. I sincerely apologize for wanting to take Charlie Condon or Travis Bazzana, which, to be fair, Bazzana has been really good for Cleveland, but for wanting to take one of those guys over Burns. But with that being said, I'm just extremely grateful that he is a member of this organization, because he's been just lights out.
For sure. Yeah, it seems every time he goes up there, the Reds need him to stop the losing streak. It feels like every time he gets the ball in his hand. It'd be nice if he'd be the guy that gets the ball and they're on a 3 or 4 game winning streak. So then that way, maybe a little bit less pressure on the young guy. 23 years old. Yeah. Drafted just 2 years ago, right? In the 2024 draft.
Yep.
I want to say, or was it, no, he's at 2025 draft, and then they throw him in right away. I'm sorry.
No, it was 2024. He didn't pitch that season, pitched in 25 in the minors, dominated in the minors, came up in June, and was just, great ever since. He had that one terrible outing in Boston, but Boston's cheating, using a bunch of AI. So, yeah.
Yeah, that was a rough start. We did that watch along, and we don't want to really talk about too much. But
we have terrible luck with watch alongs if you follow the show.
Except for if we're watching the Marlins beat the Mets, and then we're good. But it ends up being a scary start to the week because the Reds had the lead against the Phillies 3 times, I believe, when they end up blowing it with Ashcraft on the Monday game. That kind of it had that feeling of like, oh, here we go again, because we had so many bullpen meltdowns this last couple weeks that having Ashcraft kind of go out there, and then I believe Brock Burke as well. It felt like it was a situation where we're just going to do this again. We're going to have another losing week, another situation where we can't trust the bullpen, and that we have to have the starters go super deep in the game, so that way the bullpen's only getting at max 6 or 9 outs. But they end up pulling out the series by winning the next 2 games. Like you said, a bounce back series win. They had pretty decent offense out of a couple guys that we'll talk about, the potential Red Hot Reds of the week. But like Ellie was, again, his normal self doing Ellie things. Sal Stu had a home run in game 3 of the series. But he had, kind of been quiet for the most part this month, right? Like he had that really great April, but then May is kind of the way that the Reds have been playing is kind of how Sal Stewart's been playing, more or less, is that he'll have a couple good games and then he's been kind of struggling for the rest of the year or rest of the month. But yeah, the starting pitching, Lodolo's been decent. Singer's been below average. It's tough to feel confident in this team going into every single game, except for when Chase Burns gets the ball. So
yeah,
to win against Philadelphia, who had, I think came into the series winning 4 straight games in a row, and then closing them out on a getaway day, which is again not a real strong suit for this Cincinnati Reds team. It gave me confidence. I think I texted you like, "Hey, the red legs are back on track," and you're like, let's see, we're playing the Cardinals next." So
yeah.
I feel like they're at least starting to trend in the right direction.
Yeah, I wanted to make a comment too about Game 1 with the Ashcraft situation where he had already pitched 1 2/3 and they had a lefty up, and Burke, who was warming in the bullpen, they elected to stay with Ashcraft, and he gave up the home run to put the Phillies ahead.
Yeah.
So I was looking at Burke's splits, and he's actually a better pitcher against righties, if that sounds crazy enough. Burke has 9 2/3 innings against lefties and 14 1/3 against righties. And his batting average against is 237 against lefties and 216 against right-handers. And he's walked the same amount of batters versus both, with the being fewer innings versus lefties. So he's walked more batters versus lefties.
Wow.
I'm not saying that Tito looks at that stuff or anything like that, but I think you don't know what happens if you put Burke in. And Ashcraft was dealing, and who's to say Burke comes in and doesn't walk 3 straight guys, and then the game gets even further out of hand than what it was. And it's a shame that our offense we can't rely on our offense to come back from a 1-run deficit or a 2-run deficit or whatever. It was 5-4. So a 1-run deficit. They didn't score in the 9th. I think they might have went 1-2-3 against Duran, and it's unfortunate, but that's just baseball, man. Like you'd like to think Ashcraft could get out of that. It's unfortunate that he didn't. He just happened to give up a home run. Had he given up a single, maybe then you bring in Burke, or maybe even Ashcraft faces another guy and gets a ground out or whatever it may be. You never know. But it is unfortunate that that's what happened. But I think it's just baseball. And like looking at the splits, it kind of makes me feel a little bit better. Maybe it doesn't get as further out of hand as what it did.
Mm-hmm. The Ashcraft stuff further, it deepens the problem of who's going to be the closer for this ball club, because Big Tony has not really lived up to filling in Pagan's shoes while he's injured. Maybe the answer is getting Pagan back and getting him right. He had a hamstring, so that's something that probably has to be very close to 100% for him to come back. He can't come back hobbling or anything pushing off on that leg and landing, or was it his landing leg? Can't even remember if it was left or right. But either way, it'd probably be best to figure out who can be the backup closer while Pagan is out, because it doesn't seem like Ashcraft can live up to it at the moment, and neither can Tony. I think even Brock Burt is a possibility in there, but I don't think if they trust him to be in that spot yet. Either way, that's the only thing I took away from the Ashcraft blown save loss that happened on Monday night, and he bounced back later and I think got a hold for the 3rd game or the 2nd game. So yeah, it does happen. Relievers, man, because they go out there almost every single day, there is a possibility that they could just give up one ball over the plate and hang it there, and then all of a sudden it's collected by the fans in the bleachers and whatnot for a home run. So it's tough. It's a tough life, and their mistakes are definitely on display, very, very much so, and you can point them out a lot easier than say, like a batter who strikes out and whatnot in the middle of the 5th inning. So it's a difficult situation that we're finding ourselves in with a bullpen. I don't know exactly what the solution is, because they also optioned down Connor Phillips, and he was a guy that we talk about could have been a future closer. So maybe he needs to retool and figure out those walks and getting his control back, because that's the thing that's been killing this bullpen as well, is all the walks that they've been giving up. And at least it kind of got better, at least a little bit this week. I want to say you said last week they had 32 walks for the week. So hopefully it was a little less than that this week. I didn't do the math yet, but
Yeah,
I'll probably do that.
they had 6 in game 1. Lodolo had 5. Game 2 they had 1. That was Pierce Johnson in his inning. He struck out 2 also, by the way.
Okay.
And then game 3 it was
We had 3 with Abbott.
Yeah, it was just 3 in that game. So 11 walks in that series as opposed to 33 over the course of the week. I'll take that. It's a lot better. A lot better.
Yeah, for sure. I know we're going to get into it with the Chase Burns stuff, but he was just electric at that game too. And it feels like we can almost expect a win every single time, or at least a quality start that will keep the team in the game. It won't get out of hand early in the first 4 to 5, 6 innings. So that's my biggest takeaway without getting into too deep with our Chase Burns talk. But that, at least, it, like you said, the slide stopper, the guy that comes in and gets us back on a winning streak. It's I don't know how you can't have this guy be an all-star right now. Like it.
Yeah, I mean he's
just looking at his numbers,
making a case to be all-star starter. I mean that's how good he's been. And then even Abbott, he's 4-0 in his last 7 games with a 2.95 ERA. He's looked a whole lot better than what he did to start the year. I wrote about him. It's coming out later today that he's his batting average against on May 24 or April 24th was 324, and he's down to like 269 or 267. Like he's cutting down on the contact. He's not walking as many guys. He's just looking a whole lot better. I'm glad to see that too, because we really need that second starter to really pick it up with Lodolo's struggles and Singer's struggles, because Singer's just been atrocious this year so far, and hopefully he can figure something out.
For sure. And maybe the thing with Abbott is that she said yes, so now there's a lot of weight lifted off his shoulders because he had been probably preparing for his day to propose to his girlfriend Lindsey Stone, and congrats to them. So maybe now there's a little bit less stress on Andrew Abbott's left arm to go out there and perform better now that he knows he's getting hitched. And he doesn't have to prepare for any more engagement proposal stuff. So I guess that could be a factor as well. No, just throwing that out there. But,
yeah, I mean, it's a factor, man. You're probably stressing out over non-baseball stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I think her contract is up with Fox.
Yeah.
In the end of this month or the end of next month. So she doesn't know what's going on with her career either. So there's a lot going on the outside of baseball stuff with them.
Yeah, we wish them the best, though. We'll probably hear about it because they're probably one of the more famous Cincinnati couples we got out there at the moment. But yeah, any other thoughts about the Philly series before we move it on?
I guess last thing, nothing we'll have to go into it. Just good to see Sal Stewart kind of picking it back up. He goes, I think 4 for 5 in his last game against Philadelphia. Hits the home run, had his first career 4-hit game, and it's good to see him getting back on track. And it's just part of being a rookie. You struggle. You it's not really the league figuring you out. It's just you figuring out how to break out of a cold streak and not letting it get the best of you.
Yeah. If Tito does not put him in on getaway days, then Francona does not know what he's doing, because the last 2 getaway days I can remember, Sal Stewart went off. The 15-1 win against the Nationals to salvage that series, and then this one 4 for 4. Yeah, you got to play Sal Stu on the getaway days. Unfortunately, today no game, so he probably would have went 6 for 6 and hit for the cycle and all that stuff today. Possibly, but anyway, we'll move it on. The split series that basically was played all in one day. Well, it wasn't basically. It was played all in one day because we got rained out on Friday. We got rained out today. Just a lot of rain in the Cincinnati area. Even rained out a couple of games in the Columbus area where the Louisville Bats were playing. But it was kind of a weird series because we had to make some roster moves to allow for certain guys to be called up. Eugenio Suarez is back, but he at the cost of Key Brian Hayes, which I don't think a lot of fans are upset about. But usually the Reds like to do the whole thing where they option the guy down or put him on the IL after his bobblehead. Like a Ashcraft comes to mind last or 2 years ago, whatever it was. He had his bobblehead, and he ended up having a start.
Marte.
Yeah, Noel Marte. Yeah, exactly. In early April this year. But they ended up losing the first game. Pretty poor offensive effort. I think 2 hits, and one of them being a Nate Lowe home run. So there's that. Chris Paddock battled, but he probably needs a little bit more run support than a single Nate Lowe home run to get it going. And the second game on Fox was a lot better, a lot more stressful though in terms of the bullpen and going in extra innings, but they pulled it out in the end to salvage a doubleheader that could have been bad. If it's 2 straight losses against another division opponent, we're looking at this week a whole different way, and looking at the Reds and how they perform this week a whole different way, I feel, especially because Jordan Walker, man, that guy's been playing really well. And that he came up to the plate, I think, in the 9th or 10th inning. And luckily he only singled in one. Yeah, the 9th inning. He only singled in the 1 hit. But overall, what were your takeaways from the 2 games played on Saturday?
Yeah, I guess the first takeaway, it was really good to see Petty go 5 innings against the Cardinals after his major league debut last year against the same team. He does give up 4 runs. He only walked 1, so that was really good to see from him. He gave up 4 runs, but just having that 1 walk was great. And then 2, I guess this is kind of like a minor segment, is just having TJ Friedl pinch hit just is baffling to me. I'd rather see Dane Myers versus a righty than TJ Friedl, just because his last 7 games, Friedel's batting .067 with the 167 on base, and then over his last 30, it's 180 average, 239 on base, and he just has 4 walks in that time frame. It's just I'm at the point now where I'm just like, either IL him, DFA him, or option him down. Just do something, because it's just he's honestly just been a waste of a roster spot this year. His defense is bad. I don't know if you saw the throw in from left field yesterday. It barely got past the third baseman. It's just it's bad.
Yeah, maybe an IL stint is in the cards if he can't throw it. Maybe they might be like, hey, maybe he's got some shoulder fatigue, like a Brandon Williamson or something like that. Noelvi Marte has been playing a lot of center field down in AAA, by the way, just to throw that out there. And he has been mashing. I know your guy, Michael Tolia, has been playing well as well down there at AAA Louisville. So they got options, and TJ Friedel's got options as well. So there may be something there. I don't know exactly when they finally, pull the trigger on that decision. It's hopefully sooner than later, just to get TJ right. I feel like we talk about this almost every other show or every show where we're talking about TJ Friedl is probably not going to hit the heights that he hit last year with 152 games and being a above positive WAR center fielder. His days in center field might be coming to an end as well, as they've often put him out there at left field just to keep him in the game and not have as much defensive responsibility. Yeah, the writing's definitely on the wall, and all the fans are seeing it too. I don't know exactly what's going on internally with the conversations that Francona's having with TJ, but there's got to be something that's got to happen soon.
Yeah, and it was nice seeing JJ Bleday hit leadoff. I mean, yeah, he goes 0 for 3, but he draws a walk. His OPS is still over 1,000. Mm-hmm. Just really good to see from him. He's been a really, really good surprise for this team. Really, you can call it, we've had the all crawl team where all the bad players. He's one of the, the good players, because, to be fair, Crawl has made a lot of good moves also, to give him credit. Just, it's not all doom and gloom with Nick Crawl. He's made some good moves. But just seeing Bleday really perform for this team has been really good. And Nathaniel Lowe also going, 2 home runs in the series on the same day, really. But it was kind of weird, like you said, just seeing the IL stint for Ke'Bryan Hayes happen before the bobblehead. He's just been so bad this year. Hopefully what it is it really is the back issue, and that's messing everything up for him. But he's been really good defensively, so I'm really, maybe it's like an excuse to get him down to the ACL and just kind of work with the hitting coach and just kind of retool. I mean, it's worked before. We saw it work with Connor Phillips, and with him getting back down to AAA also, Connor Phillips, maybe that helps him kind of retool. And but yeah, it's good to see Suarez back. I think he has an offer for the series, but looked really good just seeing him back out there playing. And he got some time at third base, and it's just I'll take subpar defense if we can get some offense out of third base.
Yeah, I think we're going to be seeing a lot more Sal Stu there playing third, and Nate Lowe possibly being there at first base, and maybe Gino as well at first base. So that may be the solution for that, which is, we're getting plus hitting with, not the same exact level of defense, but Sal is eager and athletic enough to play that position, at least to, a replacement level player at worst. So it's kind of funny, though, you mentioned the Key Bryant stuff, because it seems like that was a back thing that he's played through in the past. It seems like you said, kind of like what we're kind of alluding to with TJ, maybe you just take a little time off. You know what I mean? 162 games is a grind of a season, and to be 100% all the time, or at least be at the top of your game all the time, is difficult. So you go down maybe to the AAA level, whatever, ACL level, if you really need to go back and retool. I don't know. I know that these guys pride themselves in trying to be available every single day and be available to help the team win every single day. But this is a long season, and we need these guys playing their best baseball August, September, October. As much as it would stink to lose a couple games here and there because we haven't figured out exactly the identity. You got to think about the long term as well, and making sure that we're putting out the best team possible every single day going forward.
Yeah, and there has been that running joke about him being unlucky, but he has been pretty unlucky for a lot of the early part of the season. But that series in Philadelphia, just ground out after ground out after ground out, double play after double play, and just key situations where bases are loaded, one out, double play. Bases loaded, nobody out, double play. Bases loaded, ground out, get the lead runner at home. I guess it's been bad. And if he could just be a little bit below league average, let's just say a 75, 80 OPS plus hitter, it's that you'll take that with his defense. But when you're a negative OPS plus, it's awful. And it's quite honestly inexcusable for a major league organization to keep running him out there day after day, even with his defense. You take a loss for the defense to get runs at that point. And I saw another stat too. I don't know who shared it, but it was Homer Bailey had a higher career batting average than Brian Hayes had this year, which is hilarious. But it's. I hope he figures it out. I hope he gets healthy. I hope he can come back and at least just be a contributor to where he's not just a detriment to the offense.
Absolutely. Yeah. But I want to shout out some other couple guys that have been serviceable and better. PJ Higgins has been pretty decent since he's come up with Trevino being out, making it seem like we talk about always the bridge guy after Stevenson. Could be that. Could be a Trevino Higgins, which is not the sexiest pairing in 2027, but it could be a situation where Trevino's mentoring a young Connor Burns, a young McChrystal, a young Duno. Who knows what the combination will look like in 2027. But also Blake Dunn. Blake Dunn's been awesome since he's come up. Serviceable, really solid defensive player as well, but also got the game-winning RBI last night. So batting 351 and OPS of 941 in the limited time that he's been playing. Maybe he needs more playing time. Maybe this is the situation where, unfortunately, if they're not going to option TJ down or they're not going to put him on the IL, maybe he's just on the bench, and it's Blake Dunn's at bats that will be getting it between him, between Blake Dunn and Dane Myers splitting the TJ Friedel at bats. That, to me, that doesn't sound like a bad idea right now.
Yeah, and I like the pairing of him with Ellie 1-2 in the order with their speed. Ellie's speed's a little down this year, but having your two leadoff guys as JJ Bleday and Blake Dunn, that's really not that bad. I like that a lot. Bleday's been a really good hitter. Dunn's been really good so far. And, in game 2 yesterday, they had Dunn, Ellie, Bleday, Stewart, Lowe as your 1 through 5. And that's solid. Yeah, that's a lot better than what it's been recently, especially from the leadoff spot. I'm glad to see that we're mixing and matching. We're playing bingo after we said we wouldn't play bingo. And, sometimes it's nice to play bingo. You might win something.
Well, as opposed to 2025, where it was stubborn Terry Francona keeping Mr. Matt McLean in the 2-hole for maybe 60 games too many type of thing.
So Gavin Lux a cleanup. And
yeah, exactly. So
Santiago Espinal in the 2-hole.
We know the extreme to the other way of David Bell being all the time analytically putting in whatever lineup is supposed to be the one that outputs 8 or 9 runs. But, sometimes when you are struggling, that's when you change it up. And these guys obviously get into routines and whatnot, so they want to probably know where they are in the lineup most days. But at the same time, like you're struggling against like the Cardinals, you're struggling against everyone in the month of May, basically. You might as well try some different things to see if it works. You never know. If it doesn't work, I don't know. This is why they get paid, I guess, more than us to talk to do Red stuff. Is that it just ends up being a situation where like, yeah, if it works, it works. It doesn't, it doesn't. Every day is a new day to win a ball game, I think is Terry Francona's mindset every single day. So hopefully those guys have the same type of mindset. Just go out there, whatever they ask of them, go out there, get the job done, and hopefully they do.
Yeah, and speaking of what has been working, Chase Burns. I mean, he's been unbelievable in 10 games. He's 6-1, a 1.83 ERA, 64 strikeouts in 59 innings, 0.95 WHIP. Do you think he's could be a serious contender for the Cy Young this year? Because if he keeps this up, he kind of has to be, right?
Yes, except if you're the national media, because there's a lot of like things I've been seeing around lately, and they do mention him, but they do not have him at the top where I think we have him in the prediction. Obviously, they got the Skeens, they got Christopher Sanchez out there in Philadelphia. Who else is that? Chris Sale. I mean, he 42 years old right now. Like, it feels like it will be a situation where he has to pitch like this the whole year. Otherwise, it'll just be kind of a situation where it'll be like, okay, he got a couple votes. You know what I mean? I feel like it is interesting. Also, it hasn't come up a lot, and I don't mean to for this to hurt his campaign or anything, but they said he was going to be on an innings restriction in 2026. It doesn't feel like it, and maybe there will be a time where they peel him back a little bit, but then we're also, Terry Francona is the manager. He's not a guy that is beholden to the analytics, so he may push that innings restriction a little bit more than, say, maybe other managers would. So there's the possibility that we are going to see Chase Burns pitching deep into August and September. I'll be for it if he's healthy and he's looking right, but it feels like the NL Cy Young is. A lot of people are already kind of got their votes in for Paul Skeens, if I may say, and there's some other guys that I'm forgetting to mention. Oh, I forgot. Shohei Ohtani is pitching again. Forgot about that guy in the NL. So there's that. So it would be difficult for young Chase. They should give him a little bit of respect because he's doing it, his second full season. So like that should give him something. Hopefully some respect, at least some national praise. But I haven't seen too much of it yet.
Yeah, so I wrote about Burns the other day. Did you know that there are 3 pitchers in Major League Baseball that have a sub-2 ERA and a sub-200 batting average against?
Really?
It is Cam Schlitter of the Yankees, Jacob Mizorowski of the Brewers, and Chase Burns.
Whew. Okay.
As before Mizorowski's last outing, it was only Burns, and Schlittler for the Yankees. He burned with the Mizorowski's outing. He reached the threshold of being what do you call it?
Qualified.
What's the word? Pitched enough. There we go.
The qualified pitcher.
Qualifying. There we go. There's the word I was looking for. He's just been really good. He's only allowed 25 hits, and 40 in over his last 42 and 2/3 innings. Just walking just 10 in his last 7 starts. Like, he's been really good. He also, I've got some stats too. His ground ball percentage is up to 45%. It was at 35% last year. His left on base percentage is at 95%. He is the best pitcher in baseball at leaving runners on base.
Okay.
So he's up there with Nick Martinez and Jacob deGrom in left on base percentage, and he's in the top 25 in ground ball rate. So he's been elite. And for someone in their first legit full season, he comes up in June last year, and he kind of gets shut down towards the end. So really, this is his first go at it as being like a full-time starter, and he's been the ace of the Reds this year. And if the Reds are in contention, if they're better than the Pirates, if they're up there tops, let's just say top 7 teams in baseball, top 8 teams in baseball, and Burns is still doing what he's doing, I mean, you gotta give him the respect, and hopefully, I don't say he wins it, but I think he gets a lot of first place votes.
Yeah, I don't know. The Pirates were not great last year, and Skeens won. So I don't know if Cy Young is tied to team winning per se, because I think in the modern analytics era, the King Felix Hernandez Cy Young in 2012 or whatever, where he was like 10-10. I think we're not attributing wins to like a pitcher's overall body of work. So like, I would say if he's pitching like this into September and August, he might get MVP votes. The way he's got a case for Reds MVP right now. I know Ellie's great. I know Sal has been great in April, but like, he could be team MVP for sure, and maybe get MVP votes for the NL. Maybe that'd be something, because I feel like that should be tied more than winning. But I will take back a little bit. Buster only did kind of shout out Chase Burns on X. He puts out there that NL Cy Young could be the best ever. Skeens, Ohtani, Sanchez, Mizorowski, Miller, Sale are the headliners, but the depth is like there as well. Kyle Harrison, another Brewer, 1.77 ERA. Chase Burns, 1.83 ERA. Bryce Elder, 1.97 ERA. Like, at least got Buster Olney's got Chase Burns on the radar, at least for outside, candidate for a Cy Young, probably a future Cy Young candidate as well going forward, hopefully every single year for Chase Burns and the Cincinnati Reds. Yeah, I feel like they weigh heavily those other guys, even Mizorowski, who's maybe got like 5 or 6 more starts than Chase Burns in his career. Yeah. But they really like that he throws 100 miles per hour every single time, and I guess the Brewers are good, so I guess that helps his case a bit. But I think top 5 Cy Young voting is definitely attainable for Chase Burns this year, based on how he's been. Even if he kind of tails off a bit and the Reds are competitive when he pitches, I think he could possibly get into that stratosphere, the top 10 pitcher, definitely of the NL, top 5 maybe.
Yeah, so this season, Paul Skeens has a 3.0 ERA in 60 innings. Burns has 59 innings with a 1.83 ERA. Skeens has a 185 batting average against. Burns has a 183 batting average against. Burns has 18 walks. Skeens has just 9. But I I'm not taking anything away from Paul Skeens, right? He's obviously, I think you could make the case that he's probably this generation's Nolan Ryan, to be frank. I mean, he's just been dominant since his debut. But seeing Burns out there in the same stratosphere as Skeens this year, and there was a lot of hype going into him being drafted. He has Paul Skeens like stuff with his fastball and his slider and changeup. With him, if he could figure it out, he could become one of the top starters in baseball. I mean, I think him doing that so early in his career, that I think he's kind of blowing us away with just his stuff. And Skeens probably goes out there and wins it, but there's a lot of stuff on Ohtani. I think his ERA is under 1 this year, but he's just Burns has just been elite this year. It just sucks that it's happening with all these other guys really dominating, because it's not taking anything away from Burns with how good he's been this year either.
Yeah, for sure. And it's still a lot of baseball left, so we could see a couple of those guys drop off. I don't think Ohtani's going to have a sub-1 ERA all season, but I could be wrong. They're not pitching him a lot. They're making sure he's available probably toward the end of the year as well, when all the Dodgers have injuries in their pitching and bullpen and they have no guys out there to throw out there. But anyway, yeah, I don't know. It sounds like, for you to talk about the stats, that it seems like Paul Skeens might be a little bit overrated, and with some of his bloated stats that he's got there. I thought he was a little bit better than that this season. But they also said that the Pirates are going to have a 50% chance of making the playoffs, and they're
currently
still
in last place in the Central. So,
and we had an 8-game losing streak this month, so I feel like the Pirates are a little bit. If they're worse than us, then that's saying a bunch. But anyway, Cy Young. I mean, man, just imagine if Hunter Green was healthy, we'd have these two guys at the top of the rotation, be potential Cy Young candidates every single time they go out there. We really got to make sure that when Hunter's back, that he's going to be 100% back. We won't hopefully have any setbacks with him or whatnot. So this is going to be an interesting month coming up with June, and then July, the All-Star break, and then hopefully Hunter's back. And then hopefully we still have a really healthy Chase Burns and maybe a healthy Lodolo. It would make up for all the poor pitching performances we've had lately if we can kind of put it all back together in the second half of the season and go on and rip off an 8-game winning streak or more. That'd be awesome to see.
Yeah, because the Reds really haven't been hot this year. I mean, they had a 5-game winning streak earlier in the year. Yeah. They still haven't had longer than a 5-game winning streak under Francona, I believe. So, it just takes them getting hot. We say it every year, but if they can just get hot and just get going, just got to rely on somebody more than Burns, and you got to rely on somebody more than Ellie on the offensive side. And thankfully, Nathaniel Lowe and JJ Bleday have really kind of picked that up after Sal Stewart's struggles after April.
Absolutely. Yeah. Anything else on Mr. Chase Burns before we move it on?
All-star starter.
Ooh, that's a good take. I like that. I like that more than the Cy Young, because I feel like Skeens is going to get votes even if he does have a 3 ERA or what have you. So it could be. We were saying this, I think, about Andrew Abbott last year as well, and he got voted in at the end, or he got
stuck on in, as they say.
Yeah, stuck on in. So I'll say that he definitely is going to be in the All-Star game right now. I think they'll give that probably to Skeens or probably Ohtani. Where's the game? Oh, Philadelphia. It could be Christopher Sanchez.
It could be.
So there's that. So, but we'll move it on. We did win that series against Philadelphia, but we were going into this Cardinals series a little bit hesitant on how the Redlegs would perform, because going into that 2 games on Saturday, or going into Friday, they were 1-9 going against division opponents. Obviously highlighted by an 8-game losing streak. That was, I think, 7 of those games were against the Pittsburgh Pirates, and then the Cubs for a 4-game sweep. It's been ugly. I think the one win was the one game that I saw was Chase Burns winning on March 30th against the Pirates. That was their only win against a division opponent.
Go figure.
Going into it. So Jose Franco's major league debut as well. So there's all that. That it feels like years ago at this point, March 30th. But anyway, yeah, they had to win this series, I think is what I had declared on our last show. They didn't do that, but they didn't lose the series as well. What were your thoughts on the two games, or what were your thoughts on the division going forward and how they performed against the Cardinals?
I don't know where you put the fault at with this, because it's just weird, right? You go 2-10 against the Central. I don't think that there's a particular reason why we're beating other teams and not the division. I think it's just kind of where the schedule falls and how we're playing, and a lot of bad luck in the Cubs series in Chicago, where you lose Pagan to the hamstring injury on his first pitch of that outing, and then tons of walks in that series, and then tons of walks in the Pittsburgh series in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
It's weird. I don't have a particular reason why they're sucking against these teams, because you can beat all the other teams. We can beat the name a team. We beat the Red Sox 2 out of 3 opening week, right? So it's like I don't have a particular reason why. I just think maybe just because these guys see each other more often than other teams do, they kind of know our pitching. But that should be the same case for us, and maybe we're just seeing why our offense is so disappointing, just because when you see these guys, you should have a leg up on them, and we just don't. And I think they caught South Stewart at the wrong time with him cooling off, and then Ellie kind of went through a cold streak to start the month of May, and then the injuries and the bullpen issues, and it's been brutal. It's embarrassing because it dates back for a while now. It's not even just in the Francona era. It goes back to like 2023. I mean, you can go back further, but the Reds were really bad back then in 22. But it's just, I don't know. It's been really bad. It's just been really bad. That's all I can say.
All this, and we haven't seen the Brewers yet.
Yes.
So it's just been Pirates, Cardinals, Cubs, and the Cubs one. Yeah, the Cubs one was really weird. It was like 3 of the 4 games were walk-offs for the Cubs. The one series that was just kind of, I don't know, the one that concerns me the most was the Pirates one. I think the Pirates obviously have this relationship with the Reds fans and whatnot that kind of go back and forth and hey, who's taking 4th in the division this year type of thing, or what have you. But it feels like the Pirates as a team and organization want to show that they're making progress, and to do that against the Reds is one way to do it. They swept us ugly fashion with all the walks, all the hits, the Reds folded up, and really, hopefully it will not happen again against the Pirates when they play them again, because it feels like they've got our number kind of in a weird, Brewers fashion type of situation. And that has to be rectified. I feel the walks, the giving up a bunch of hits to this team, to embarrassing yourself on the national stage with I think two of the 3 games were on Fox. So that's got to be better. The Cubs series, like I said, they have been super streaky as well. We caught them in a winning streak when they were just killing it. They've also have 2 losing streaks of 8 or more in between a game, 12 or 11 game winning streak. So the Cubs are super, super streaky. We caught them at the wrong time. And then that's not to say that's the only reason why they lost. Obviously they walked in a run, which it has nothing to do with the Cubs other than they just didn't swing the bat, so the Cardinals series was, I think, hopefully the chance for the Reds to show who they kind of really were. Game 1 did kind of show that, where they have that abysmal offensive output, and they have some terrible pitching performances to not keep them in games, some bullpen blow up as well. And at least they salvaged it by playing better in the night game, but they still had bullpen issues, and they had still had issues with just trying to keep the lead and not putting a team away. Obviously our guy Chase Petty gave up that pivotal 3-run home run to Jordan Walker to make it a game again, because it looked like they were going to put him away at, what was it, 5-1, and he made it 5-4. So it ends up being like, dang, I guess the Cardinals are going to be competitive in this division at least a little bit. They may fall off after a while toward the end of the year, but they seem to have guys performing well enough right now that they could be kind of a pest for the teams that want to compete for the top of this division. Hopefully they can get some games on the Cubs and the Brewers just to make them kind of fall back down to earth as well. That would be ideal if the Cardinals can kind of basically play spoilers so that the Reds can be right there amongst the division leaders.
Yeah, and it's just been, terrible pitching and bad offense versus the division. They get outscored 27-8, 27-8 in the Pirates series in Pittsburgh. I think it was like 22 walks that series. They allowed 7 consecutive walks when they ended up walking 2 consecutive runners in with the bases loaded.
Yep.
Just awful. And then, the Cubs series, they had I think it was like what you said, three walk-offs out of the first 4 games. And then just the last game, the blow up with Tyler Stevenson forgetting that the bases were loaded and not tagging the runner after the force out of third. And I jokingly said in a group chat I'm in, thank God Higgins was catching last night when Nathaniel Lowe threw it home and he tagged the runner out at home. I was like, Stevenson might have thought there was a force play and saved the game.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's just been a combination of just terrible pitching and just the offense not putting runs together when they're facing these guys. Because in the Cubs series, game 1 it's 5-4, game 2 it's 3-2, game 3 it's 7-6, and then game 4 it was 8-3. Just there was some runs scored, but that was a lot of the bad pitching in that series. And then like this past weekend with the Cardinals, you can't really blame it all on Paddock, because I think Paddock has been serviceable for coming off the couch in pitching. He goes 5 innings on Saturday in game 1, 3 earned runs, 3 walks, 5 strikeouts, 7 hits. That's serviceable for what he's been for the season overall. You go to he pitched pretty well in his first start, right? If I can get the game log on that. That was in the Cleveland series, right? Saturday's game.
Yep.
He goes 5 innings, 6 hits, 2 earned runs. He hits a batter and only walks 1. So 4 walks in his 2 starts in 10 innings. That's solid compared to what the rest of the pitching staff has been this season. And he's been a nice addition. He's getting hit hard, but for somebody who's, like I said, coming off the couch and hadn't pitched, since May 3rd, he takes 2 weeks off effectively and comes in and does pretty well.
Yeah, he's being the innings eater that we want Brady Singer to be, basically. And definitely, if he can just be 5-6 innings in, even if he is giving up 6 to 7, 8 hits in every out there and give up maybe 3 or 4 runs, like we got to be able to score more runs, especially if we've got guys that are injured like Hunter and Lodolo coming back from injury, and Abbott starting to round back into his form that we're used to. It's got to be some guys that just go out there just to take the ball every 5th day, because we need them to, and need to give the bullpen hopefully a little bit of rest. But yeah, against the division, it's been weird. Hopefully water will find its level, and we'll be doing that kind of stuff back to the Pirates and back to the Cubs in the next couple series.
Yeah, for sure. And, hopefully Brady Singer can figure it out and at least give us 5 innings in a start, 6 innings in a start, and keep us in a game. Because, if you're hurt, you're hurt. Say you're hurt. Louder tried to fight through it, and he's been on they put him on the IL. I'm not saying we can afford to put all these guys on the IL, but at the end of the day, it's like we'd rather have you long-term than short-term. And just it's been just really bad baseball from him.
Yeah, he'll get a chance this week. I think he's got the Braves on Saturday, if I'm remembering right. So then we'll see if he can pitch against the best team in baseball on I think a Fox game as well. So we'll see how that goes out. But yeah, a guy though that has been playing well in the spotlight, playing in a role that I think when they sign him in the free agency as a minor leaguer contract, that he knew that maybe if he bided his time, he would be able to contribute to this ball club and take advantage of his opportunities. And there's a couple guys that fit that role. You talk about a guy like Dane Myers is kind of like off-season signing that Nick Kroll probably hit on. But our red hot red of the week, a guy that I think nearly won a guy a truck, or won a Reds fan a truck by hitting the Toyota sign on Saturday night, is our guy Nate Lowe. Big Nate Lowe is our red hot red of the week. And he had a decent week, 6 for 17, 353 average. Yeah, 6'7", 824 slug, 2 homers, 2 doubles, and 6 RBIs. And like I said, he's been a bright spot because, with Ke'Bryan Hayes going down, and I want to say he had a pretty decent week a couple weeks back where he generated some offense. I'm starting to forget exactly what week that was where he came in a big spot. I want to say end of April. Was it the Tiger series? He had a pretty good series.
Yeah, that's what it was. He hit like 3 home runs in the series with a walk-off.
There you go. So that long game that went into the night that they restarted after a rain delay. So if Tito Francona is listening, make sure you put Mr. Nate Lowe at the end of the month of any series, because he seems to perform really well towards the end of the month, like he did this week, and he did at the Tiger series last month. But anyway, what are your thoughts on Big Nate Lowe and how his week went?
Yeah, I mean, you can't say enough good things about him. I mean, I'm almost to the point now just saying extend Nate Lowe. Like he's earned it, man. 346, 346, 692 over his last 7 games, 6 strikeouts, the 2 home runs, and 26 at bats. Just great to see. And what gets lost is that play he made to save the game in game 2, where I kind of touched on it a minute ago, but just having the wherewithal to throw a good ball to home to where Higgins could make the play and make the tag and ensure the run didn't score. And he's a Gold Glover in the past for a reason, and he's a really good defensive first baseman. Still just 30 years old. You could extend him for 2 to 3 years and still get some good years out of him, I think. And I think he's earned that from his play. And his veteran presence alone on this team is something that this team needs. We thought we had that with Jeimer Candelario a couple years ago, and I think we learned that his mentality isn't really in being a leader on a team. And we're seeing guys like Nate Lowe and JJ Bleday kind of take those leadership roles, and Ellie's kind of establishing himself as a leader on this team to mentor guys like Sal Stewart and try to get Matt McClain to break through slumps. And, as bad as Ke'Bryan Hayes has been on offense, him mentoring Ellie on defense has been huge for Ellie's defensive growth this year. And, we've got some prospects coming up that we'll talk about on Minor League Monday, but, Edwin Arroyo has played more second base than he has in his career this year. And with McClain struggles at second, and with the amount of struggles that Ke'Bryan Hayes has had, and if you're not going to play Sal Stewart at third and you're going to limit Suarez to a DH role, like Arroyo's played some third base this year too. So, I mean, there's going to be some more decisions to be made, but Nathaniel Logan, going back to him, he's performed every year of his career except for 2024 or 2025. He still had the power last year, but the batting average was lower than what he's normally had. He's a career 264 hitter. He was a 228 hitter last year. His OPS was below 700 for the only time of his career last year. he's been an above average league hitter every year of his career. And I think just him getting back there and having the confidence for a team believing in him and showing that, they have the faith in him to be a contributor on a team, whether it's in a starting role or a bench role. It's just been huge. And I'm really, really glad to see him performing well.
Yeah, absolutely. And his playing time should continue to be consistent with Key Brian Hayes out and Gino kind of coming back online. Probably not going to be playing every single day. There may be a good chance. He played 4 out of the 5 games this week. I could see him playing 5 out of 6 games this week against the next 2 opponents in the New York Mets and the Atlanta Braves. So we'll see. And if he is playing 5 out of 6 games, hopefully that means he's really productive and getting some offense that is desperately needed at times from this team that can go cold really quick. Like I said, the only offense they got on the game 1 against the Cardinals was Mr. Nate Lowe's home run, and it was he hits no doubters, man. He doesn't hit those just over the fence home runs. If he gets it, it's going 6, 7, 8, 10 rows deep and nearly wins the Toyota Tundra for a Cincinnati Red Legs fan, which I think I saw all over social media, they were zooming in to see how far away from, if you hit this sign, you can win a truck. It's the closest I've seen in a long time for winning a Toyota Tundra truck. I don't even know if it goes back to a left-handed hitter that would be able to generate that kind of power. I guess Ellie would be another one that could possibly win a truck for somebody because he can get a hold of one on the left side.
Yeah, I have the image. I'm going to add it to the thing here.
Yeah,
it's close. I mean, it's really close. I don't know how this is going to look, but I mean, you can see the ball just below, just to the right of the monitor.
Yeah.
And this Tundra sign's just 6 to 8 feet to the left and up about 2 feet, 2 to 5 feet. It's that's incredible. That's incredible.
For sure. Yeah. It hit the power stacks. Definitely. But yeah, if it's a little bit further to the left, a little bit up, it's got a chance. And I don't know what Bob Castellini would do about that. He might have to.
He was sweating bullets.
You have to buy a used Toyota Tundra off the lot somewhere for $1,000 just to make sure.
You get a 1996 Toyota pickup. It's not even a Tundra or Tacoma. It's just a Toyota pickup.
Yeah, exactly. Just something they slap Toyota on. It's a general, something off the used car lot somewhere. But yeah, I don't know. It'll be interesting. It'd be interesting if Nate Lowe does get a hold of one this coming season, because if he does, it could be a future car for someone sooner than later. He's got the power,
sure.
No doubt. Still,
oh yeah,
no doubt. But
that was crushed.
Anything else about Nate Lowe?
No, just he's been exceeded my expectations this year for sure.
You're right. The minor league contracts that Nick Krall signed with Bleudet and Nate Lowe have been huge for this 2026 Red Legs team. And it's rare that we kind of say that. A lot of minor league contracts, a Mike Ford, comes to mind, you know what I mean? That don't really pan out when they actually, buy their contract for the major league level. So shout out to Nick Krall, I guess, for going 2 for 2 with those two guys. And then Michael Tolley as well, which I know your guy. So we might talk about him minor league Monday. So tune into that. It might be 3 for 3 for Mr. Krall on minor league contracts in the offseason. But yeah, moving on deck, we've got 6 games, 3 in New York starting Monday, and then 3 on the weekend back in Great American Ballpark against the best team in baseball, Atlanta Braves, which will be interesting because, we have to play the Braves in September as well when, the games become that much bigger. So hopefully we'll be able to be in a situation where we don't have to win 2 or 3 games against the Braves in late September, I think in Atlanta. So that this is going to be a test to see where the Reds are, because, the Mets are under 500 by 8 or 9 games and not been playing really good baseball. And they had a 13 game losing streak this year already. And they've been struggling, but they'll be at home, and the Reds sometimes play up to their competition. If, like they see the Phillies last week and they played really well against the Phillies, who are hot, and then maybe they play a little bit down to the competition. But you got some decent starters coming up. I forget the exact guys. I feel like we got a Lodolo in there in New York. But yeah, I think you wrote about this as well, your piece, the upcoming probables for the Mets series. Who do we got going for that?
Yeah, so the only starter the Mets have officially announced is Nolan McLean. 2-3, 3.57 ERA. Suarez is the only player that's faced him. That's on the active roster. Really good fastball, 95, 95th percentile in run value on his fastball. His breaking ball's okay. He's in the 22nd percentile in run value on his breaking balls, but he strikes out a lot of batters. And he's really good at limiting barrels and avoiding solid contact, and throws 6 pitches, mixes them up very well, throws a sinkers 35% of the time. His fastball, I think, is at 20 or 19%, and then the other ones are between 18 and 9%. But just really good stuff from him. And he faces Nick Lodolo on Monday, Memorial Day. Be nice to see some red, white, and blue out there. Lodolo's really kind of struggled since he's come back. His sweet spot percentage is at 41%. So guys are really barreling up his pitches. His barrel percentage is at 19%, 7.20 ERA, 1.53 whip in his 3 starts, 15 innings, 14 hits, 12 runs, 9 walks, 11 strikeouts. I'd like to see him kind of bounce back on this one, because you can probably think his last 3 starts are him just kind of getting back in the groove of things and facing major league hitters. But he's got to face Juan Soto and Marcus Semien and Tyrone Taylor, which Juan Soto is 1 for 3 with the home run against him. Marcus Semien's 1 for 3, and Tyrone Taylor's 2 for 10 but has a home run. So the Mets have stunk ever since the middle of last year. So I would like to hope that stays on track and we can kind of deal with that. And then Chase Burns gets game 2. We spoke enough about Chase Burns. Just, you can't say enough. He's one of the best pitchers in baseball. And then Andrew Abbott gets game 3 on Wednesday. And he's starting to look like 2025 Abbott again. So really good to see from him. And no Mets have faced Burns. And then for Abbott, Brett Beatty's 2 for 6. Marcus Semien's 0 for 3 with 2 strikeouts. Luis Torrens is 1 for 3. And Mark Vientos is 4 for 8 with a home run. Juan Soto 4 for 12 and a double.
Yeah, should be a good series for the Redlegs. Yeah, if we get a good performance out of Lodolo start off the week, that'd be great, especially because the Reds have played 2 games in the last 4 days. It'd be nice to get out there and win the series against the Mets. I think that is not too far from expectation, especially when you got Chase Burns with almost a guaranteed W, or at least a competitive game there. I think 2 out of 3. What are you thinking for the Mets series?
Yeah, I mean, if Lodolo can pitch well, I think we could sweep him. But that's a lot to ask. If you can get 2 out of 3, it's a win, and obviously, but logistically too, it's a win. Getting 2 out of 3, you feel better about the team beating up on the bad teams. The Mets are 22-30, and just they're a prime example of why we can joke all we want about payroll and not spending, but the Mets are a prime example of that. Winning isn't bought all the time either. It's a lot of factors. The Dodgers are just the king of spending and having great coaching staffs as well. Yeah,
and also developing players and being able to figure out their minor leagues and whatnot. But not a podcast about the Dodgers. The Brave series, I think, is going to be really interesting for these Redlegs because it's at home. At least it's against the best team in baseball. We're coming to the end of the month of May. That's been kind of atrocious, to say the least. I think they're 7-14 right now for the month of May, which is the total opposite of what we were doing a month ago. But I think we've got possibly a Paddock, Singer, Lodolo. So Lodolo might get 2 starts this week if all things go well. What are your thoughts here for the Brave series?
Yeah, so the Braves haven't officially announced starters either. If it's being 4 days in advance or whatever. But they are the best team in baseball. They're 2 games ahead of the Rays for best in Major League Baseball. They're the best team in the National League. Rays are the best team in the American League. We have beat the Rays, so I think I think we could pull it off. We're at home. I think if you can get 1 out of 3 after you take 2 out of 3, split the week. I'll take that. Obviously, you'd like to take 2 out of 3 against Atlanta and really prove that you can belong and put an exclamation mark on the really bad start of the month and end it well. Because then, looking ahead to June, you take on Kansas City, then you travel to St. Louis, then you travel to San Diego, and then we go to Arizona comes to town that following weekend. So, if you can jump on Atlanta, I think, I'm not sure. I saw something about Acuna going down with the injury. I don't know how serious that is. He was seen rubbing his knee. I don't know what that means. It could be anything, but you would like to at least, prove that you can be a competitive team against these really good teams. And I'd like to, 1-3 is the bare minimum. You can't get swept. You just can't get swept.
Yeah. If they win 3 games this week, that puts them at 10 wins for the month, and then like 30, I think, overall, which is a decent spot to be in come June, where hopefully they can sort out their issues into a new month. But yeah, I think it says potentially they get Chris Sale on the last game of the month, so it'll be interesting. Hopefully they can take care of at least 1 or 2 wins on the front end of that Atlanta series, and we'll see how Sunday goes with Sale going up against potentially Nick Lodolo is the possible starting. But yeah, it's difficult because this month has been really up and down in terms of we scored 15 runs against the stinking Nationals, but we also lost that series in pretty terrible fashion for at least the Reds standards against a team that is usually competitive but not a contender. This is a real contender in the Braves. So to me, that means that the Reds are probably going to play their best baseball, because that's what they like to do, is go up against these powerhouses and go up against them and play pretty solid baseball. So yeah, if they can get 2 out of 3 against the Braves, it make the end of the month, I guess, a little more tolerable. The month of May a little bit more tolerable, instead of going out with maybe a whimper. That'd be really rough if they end up having a losing week against the Mets and the Braves. But you know what? You got 3 more months of baseball after that, June, July, August, and then, September, or 4 more months of baseball after that. So they've got lots of time. It's not the end of the world, but this division isn't going to get any easier. So they need to start stacking some series wins and maybe get on a little bit of a streak if they can. 5-6 games, I'll take that if they could do that sooner than later.
Yeah, for sure. And before we move on to our announcement, I would like to say, rest in peace, Kyle Busch. He, obviously he's not a baseball player. He's drove in NASCAR, but he was kind of part of Reds in recent years. He threw out the first pitch for the Speedway Series in a Reds jersey, and then this year in spring training, he took batting practice with his kids with the team. And tragic. If you have any health issues, go get checked out. Don't try to tough it out. He had pneumonia, and it turned into sepsis. So if you're not feeling good, it is serious. Go get checked out. We'd rather have you here than not here. So, rest in peace, Kyle Busch.
Yeah, for sure. Thoughts and prayers to his family and everyone affected. It's sad. A really quick story.
41, man, way too young.
He just raced the week before, right? So it wasn't like he wasn't.
Yeah,
he won a truck series. It's crazy. Yeah, it's really sad. Hopefully his family is going to be able to find some peace through all this.
His son just turned 11 on Tuesday or Wednesday, and his son's a really good driver. Just sad.
Yeah, for
but
sure.
Some good news here. We'll talk about some positives to end the show.
Yeah. Well, StreamYard, clip it. We are going to have a giveaway it is going to be a Eugenio bobblehead night giveaway. I believe it's June 24th. Yep, right there on the screen. Gino Suarez bobblehead giveaway, the City Connect 1.0. You can see that right there in the corner, swinging the bat in the black and red. And this is going to be 2 free tickets that will be given away to this game. You just have to enter the contest by showing that you are subscribed to our YouTube page, taking a screenshot, sending it to us, either to our X account, to our Facebook account, or to our Instagram account. So that way we can enter you into the contest. We will give away those tickets, I believe, a couple weeks beforehand. So probably the 24th, it'll probably be closer to the June 10th, around there, 11th, 12th. So that way you have some time to get your schedule together. It is a Wednesday night game, but Ricky, these games in the past, when they've had like an Ellie bobblehead in the middle of June or middle of May, they get crazy. So you got to make sure you get to the game early. I think, Ricky, the one time that we went to a Ellie bobblehead giveaway last year, that you got there like 3 or 4 or 5 hours before the opening or first pitch. So like this will be a popular game. I feel it'll be awesome to see Eugenio maybe hit a grand slam on his bobblehead like Ellie did, last year in 2025. So maybe we'll see. But enter that contest by taking a screenshot, showing you're subscribed to our YouTube channel, and then send it to us, and we'll enter you into the contest.
Yeah. So what we'll do is we'll post this clip on Twitter and Facebook, and I think on both platforms you can reply with a picture. So you can just reply to the post with the picture of you being subscribed, like the post, repost the post, that kind of stuff, and that way, the more eyes on it, the more people have a chance to win it. And, if Suarez can get hot here pretty soon, I think that it should be a popular game to get to. It is a midweek game, but I think it is versus the Brewers too. That's the getaway game of the series. So, yeah, I mean, if you love bobbleheads and you want to have that Gino bobblehead and you don't want to spend I saw a Ke'Bryan Hayes bobblehead for $1,500. That was the gold one from Saturday's game.
Wow.
So, I mean, if you don't want to spend upwards of like $100 to $150 on a bobblehead online, you can just have a chance to win one, to get one by entering in on this, and it helps us out. It also helps you out by getting you guys to a game. So, it'll be a lot of fun, and looking forward to see some engagement with fans of the show and fans of our social medias.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. And it should be right when the Reds are having about 11 or 10 game winning streak, right about that time in June. So the Reds should be red hot at that point. So it'd be awesome to see, Gino get his bobblehead and all that good stuff. And we really appreciate all the fans of the show that do support us. We've been growing and trying to keep growing, get stuff out to you. We just had a recent interview with Be a Friend, Tell a Friend, Jacob Friend, who's killing it at Daytona, probably deserving of a promotion sooner than later. He just had a home run on the first pitch of the game last night for his 7th of the season. So he's been doing really well. A bunch of other minor league guys that we cover. So, check out Minor League Mondays as well, as we've been promoting, because we'll be talking about Jacob Friend and others on the Monday show.
Yeah, for sure. It's really cool to have them on the show, and love talking to those guys, just kind of getting to know their day to day. And the show's open for the major league guys as well. If you ever want to hop on the show and just chat, we're not going to have any gotcha questions. We're not going to put any pressure on you. We just want to know who you are. That's really all it is. It's it's kind of like the social media of podcasting. We want to know more about you and your journey to becoming a professional baseball player, or even we've had media guys on too, Justin Latta, James Rapine, Jeff Carr, Matthew Muncy, the broadcaster for the Tortugas. Just get to know who you are, like what made you a baseball fan, or what made you love the game of baseball. So it's a lot of fun having them on and talk.
Yep, absolutely. Anything coming out, Ricky? Check out Ricky's Chase Burns article, which is why we talk about Chase Burns a lot this show, is because I was inspired by that article he put out about Mr. Chase Burns. But anything else coming out Reds on SI?
Today I had a couple prospect articles out. I had a recap of the minor league games on Saturday. A lot of good pitching in that day. Kyle McCoy made his high A debut and looked great. Shengen Lin and Bryce Archie looked really good in Daytona. And then Austin Hendrick hit his first AAA home run. Couldn't tell you how excited I was. I got my phone blew up. It's funny because Greg Kuffner, Reds Daily 4, he texted me. He goes, Austin Hendrick first AAA home run, Ricky wellness check, and I was like, currently on my knees in a coffee shop. I was excited, dude. I'm so happy for him. I hope he continues his stretch of good play because he's just one step away from making his major league debut.
Yeah, he's been playing well, and I think they still only have like 11 or 10 field players, so he's going to be playing a lot, one way or the other. It feels like because they maybe will have some guys shift around, maybe promoted, maybe some guys come down from the big league team. But yeah, man, take advantage of your opportunities, Austin. We'd love to have you on the show. Let us know, and we'll make it happen.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, anything else, Ricky, before we sign off?
No, just really good week this week, and looking forward to all these people trying to get involved in this ticket giveaway because that'd be a popular game to get to.
Yeah, for sure. Hopefully better weather. None of this raining stuff. Hopefully a month from now. But yeah, until then, go Reds.
Go Reds.